Those of you who follow me on Instagram, I'm sure you are aware by now that I collect cartoony horror type figures. Things like Count Duckula and Gremlins and even some Scooby-Doo ghosts and monsters. So you can imagine when I found out that Neca were going to be making a Toony Terrors line, I was well and truly excited. I have already reviewed Tim Curry's Pennywise Neca Toony Terror action figure. If you haven't seen that video, please check out the link at the top corner now of your screens, and there you will see the whole review and unboxing of that awesome Pennywise figure. Today though, it is all about my favourite vampire character that has ever been created, and that is Nosferatu himself. Join me in opening up this bad boy. So for those of you who don't know, Nosferatu is from the 1922 film by F.W. Murnau of the same title. He lives in a big castle in Transylvania and sails to England in the movie. Without giving any more spoilers, it is a brilliant film. Because it is in 1922, it is in black and white and it is a silent film, but I definitely recommend watching it. It has some amazing scenes in it and some amazing imagery, and as you can see, he is seriously creepy. So let's start with the box art. As you can see, it has Neca written at the top and Toony Terrors as per usual. It looks great. I love the way they do this sort of cinema style with the title and name of each film and character on it. On the back of the box it has the archway, and anybody who knows this door with this arch, it is in one of the most famous scenes of the film. Definitely check out this scene if you haven't seen it, but just watch the film, it's awesome. As you can see, he doesn't look like your typical Count Dracula with the long red velvety sort of black capes and the smart slick back hair. He looks a lot creepier and he's very ghoulish. He's got a forlorn face on him and he's got fang type teeth, but all over, not just the two fangs as a normal Dracula in the Western world does. And as you can see, his massive deep sunken eyes and big ears. So enough of me rambling on about the box art. We all want to see the figure itself, don't we? So let's get this bad boy open. And whilst I'm opening this, those of you also may remember Nosferatu has been spoofed a few times. Anybody used to watch the Far Show in the UK? Even overseas viewers. Did any of you guys used to also watch the Far Show? There was the famous scene with Paul Whitehouse coming up in black and white, basically creeping up like a sort of monster, and the lady waking up in bed and screaming, and then him just basically saying really funny things and repeating monster monster at the end. Basically that is a complete rip-off of, or homage to, Nosferatu. Pretty awesome little fact there. So there you go, you can see the backdrop there. Let's get this guy out. I'm really excited about this. I've been wanting to open this guy for quite a while. So the first thing we'll do, we'll get the little rat out. Let's see if we can prize him out. I always like with these little figures, they always have a little accessory, which is pretty cool. The Tim Curry Pennywise one came with an awesome little balloon. It looks so cool. Here is the little rat. Really nice looking. Hopefully you can see that all right. Really cool. He's got a great little grin on him, some nice little bit of detail there. He's got some red eyes and a really long tail that actually moves as well, which is pretty cool. That's really cool. Really nice looking. He's a bit hunched over. He actually looks a bit like a vampire himself, but he is really cool. Tiny little addition. Don't remember this in the film at all, but really nice looking. So stick him there. So as we can see, this guy looks absolutely awesome. Look at how this guy looks. He's so cool. I mean, I have wanted a Nosferatu figure for a while, but I wasn't sure whichever one to get, and there's other different ones you can get. I think there's a Bendy-Fig version, and there's also a taller, I think 9-inch or 10-inch version with a cloth cape and all that, but I'm not really into cloth clothes on figures. I like them to be the sort of moulded plastic and all that. And then obviously when I saw this guy and saw that they were releasing him, I thought, oh my god, I was so excited. There he is in all his glory. Really nice looking. I mean, beautiful one. Hopefully that's focusing all right. As you can see all the details. I love how they've completely accentuated his arms. I mean, if you see the guy who plays the character in this film, he has got really long arms anyway, and they've made him look so cool in it, especially for a 1922 silent movie. I mean, it's basically a forerunner for so many different atmospheric Dracula films. Really great. And just look at that. I mean, that looks absolutely quality. Right, let's see how long these arms are. That is seriously long arms. I mean, look at that hand as well. That is proper creepy. I mean, that just looks amazing. Love the way that looks. You see the coat on the back there? And I really like the detail of all the buttons just going straight down. That looks great. Looks really good. And another thing, they've obviously embellished certain features. I love, there's almost a bit of realism in the face. If you took the sculpt of the face just by itself, you'd say that's actually a really good Nosferatu sculpt, and you could tell who it is straight away. But it's the body that's different. It's the accentuated arms and fingers and hands. I mean, look at the size of those, and they're going right down to his knees basically. And then there's the very skinny little legs. They look absolutely great. And that just adds to the whole Toony sort of vibe of it. As with the Toony Terror's Pennywise action figure, there wasn't too much articulation, just a little bit around the wrist and stuff like that. And this guy is no different. He has no articulation in his legs at all, so he basically just stands there, which I will try and do now. Proving to be a bit difficult. I think maybe the table might not be quite right. There you go. So he does stand all right. But the only bit of articulation I can see is his head moves, which is quite a nice little touch, but I do love seeing a Dracula straight on like that, especially this guy because of the iconic scene. And then the only other bit of articulation, his arms go obviously up and down and they go all the way around. But also they go like that, so that's a nice little touch. Also I've just noticed his wrist does bend a bit. So that's cool. So you can literally make it go like this. So you can put him like that, which is really nice. A bit Frankenstein-esque, but really nice looking, especially with those claws and those long nails. They look absolutely great. I mean, he is proper freaky like that. Really cool. I'll try and get that a bit more. How does that look? I mean, he looks great to me. Now, another thing I will say about these, I did have this problem, and he seems to suffer with the same sort of problem. The ones with the thinner legs, can you see that? Slightly a bit bent on the sculpt, and there's slightly a bit skew width, and I think that's why a minute ago when I was trying to stand him, yep, look, it doesn't naturally just stand, you have to kind of bend him into shape. There you go, you have to sort of bend it into shape, but I don't know how long that will last, if they will slowly start coming together and will he fall over after an hour or so. I'm not so sure. But apart from that, I love the little details in his shoes there. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but he's got the grey sort of buttons on there, like the old style shoes with the little covers they used to have, and they are really great and pointed. There's a lot of style with this figure, that's what I like about it. And I love, it's an early Dracula, and I do love Dracula as a character and the style of him and everything. And I love him in your sort of, you know, your Western Hollywood cinema and everything like that, and also in Bram Stoker's Dracula. I love that. I mean, Gary Oldman was great in that, and the whole style of that vampire almost has a slight reminiscence of Nosferatu more than your classic Dracula with the hair and the velvet cape. So, a little bit more of the head sculpt. You can see the eyes are pretty sunken in there, and they look really great and detailed, and it adds to the foreboding sight of his face and the way he looks and stares almost past you into the distance. and hypnotic like. And then his teeth. The teeth are fangs at the front as opposed to the classic just two on one on either side. They look absolutely great, and the way his face just looks and the look on his face again is akin to the famous iconic scenes in the film, and he just really looks so dark and foreboding. I'm just going to show you a bit more of the articulation in the wrist, because it actually does bend quite a lot. He goes all the way to that point and he goes all the way down to there, which is pretty cool. So you could actually do some really cool little bits. I mean, that looks weird in itself. Let me just pose him into that. I actually quite like that pose. That looks pretty cool. Looks really sort of weird and freaky, that. And you can proper turn him away like that, so that looks weird. I do like that. Overall, I am really happy with this guy. I mean, I love this character, I love this film, and I've wanted an action figure of Nosferatu for so long. There is a few little bits I would love to have changed. I would have liked a little bit more articulation maybe in his legs, but the Neca Toony Terrors aren't really famous for their articulation. They're more style over what they can do. And as you can see, he has got style in abundance. They have really captured the look of the film and the feel of him and the way his face looks in, again, those famous scenes. And the whole sort of like scrawniness of the character, they have really captured well and accentuated the arms and the body, and the waist is tiny with the shoulders broad. It looks absolutely great. So what do you think? I really love this figure. I am so excited to get him up on the shelf displayed underneath some of these lights. Do you own him yourself? Do you like it? Don't you like it? Do you have any other Nosferatu figures, and how does it compare with them? I'm really interested to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment. Please like, subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Check out my Instagram for some better photos, and I shall see you next time.